This is going to be a position to work on some shoulder strength, especially moving into a little bit of external rotation. So I would just take a TheraBand if it's a home, band, and just tie a knot in the middle, right? You don't need to have a wall anchor, but you can. And I'm just going to take this, I'm going to put it over the door and close the door. And I want to make sure it catches in there. Don't have any surprises, right? So that's in there, nice and sturdy. Now, if you have the TheraBand, you would just wrap your hands around the end of the band, right? If you have handles, you don't need to do that, but I'll just wrap around just so you can see. Now, we do a lot of stuff to work on external rotation, but the one thing that we tend to run into trouble with is as we pull our arms apart, if we're stiff or if we're kind of weak, we tend to want to hike our shoulders up and create a little bit more pressure on the top of the shoulders, and it can be painful, right? So I try and start with a lower version of this. So if my arms are just kind of passively supported by the tension of the band, I have my thumbs up. I'm just going to start to pull out and down as I turn my thumbs away. I come back in and my elbows bend, right? Thumbs turn out, palms forward as I come out and back. I'm really focusing on a few things. One is, before I even pull this band, I want to make sure I'm not letting my back arch, right? And if I have some people that are arching a lot, I'll have them sit maybe on a stability ball because that'll keep their lower back locked into place, right? Or maybe I'll come down onto one knee, which also will stop me from arching my back quite as much. And it gives me a little bit more tension on the band because I'm a little lower from the top of my door. And as I pull down and back, right? As I get down here, I'm really trying to squeeze down into my armpit, feeling like I'm pulling my shoulder blade down and back, right? Without feeling like I'm having any pressure on the top of my shoulder. So this handle, I'm just holding a handle, right? I have this fancy tubing. Okay, same thing here, I'm holding the handle nice and firm, and my thumbs are turning down and out as I come down. Now a progression from here would be, instead of going as far down, starting to keep a little bit more bend in my elbow to where I'm going towards more of a pure external rotation, right? So if that's fine, and I'm not having any issues here, I may start to have someone come basically a little wider with their hands, right? And a little wider with their hands. Because the band's attached up high, right, I'm a little less likely to hike my shoulders up. So just so you can see what it looks like as I'm here, right, as I come down, this is pretty safe. I'm pushing down, so it's unlikely I'm going to hike my shoulders up. And then if that's fine, I may start coming out a little wider, still straightening my elbows. And if that's fine, I may start to keep my elbows slightly bent, so it's a little bit more of an outward pull now. I'm not doing as much of the push down. And then maybe I get to the point where the band's still attached up high, but I'm pulling out. Because the band's up high, it's still facilitating a little bit more of a downward motion, which will keep me engaging more down through here, and still be a little less threatening to create this pressure on the top of the shoulder. Just so you can see from the side, once again, what I'm talking about here. Regardless of if I'm here, or here, or here, I really want to watch that as I get out there, there's none of this. This little subtle rock forward, especially as I get wider, and if my shoulders are stiff or if I'm getting kind of tired, my shoulders are going to want to do this. I really want to feel like the wider I go, I'm pulling down into my armpit, pulling down into my lats, just making sure that pull doesn't come with this. So starting low, gradually working yourself up a little higher into your typical W, posterior rotator cuff strengthening exercise.